we will proceed with the sessions. So, brothers and sisters, I believe it's correct to call you excellencies because there are prime ministers and potential presidents in our midst. You are also, it's also right to call you visionary scholars. Pigeon, for instance, has a PhD in conscientism. And brothers and sisters, comrades in the struggle. So once again, we have gathered online, not merely to discuss policy, but to ignite a revolution in economic thought, a revolution that will dismantle the chains of fragmentation and erect in its place the unshakable pillars of a united Africa. As we stand for the total liberation, unification, and development of Africa. For far too long, Africa has been carved, as we witness today, into 55 economic fragments, each forced to kneel before foreign powers, each shackled by borders drawn in colonial war rooms. No more, we say. Today, we declare that Africa's era of begging for investment, exploiting raw misery, let's call it raw material, which is raw misery, importing finished oppression ends here. Because that's what we've been doing, begging for investment, exporting raw misery, and importing finished oppression. We meet under the washed spirits of Sankara, Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, and Muammar Gaddafi, architects of unity whose blueprints were sabotaged but never erased. They are just demands, echoes in here, in this room where we are now, online, saying to us, unite, unite or perish. So the task before us is that there is no ordinary, this is no ordinary regulatory meeting that, in our meeting here. We are hoping that through our discussion, we'll come up with some kind of draft or initiate one for the economic constitution of a continental superpower. One market, one industrial master plan, one currency, and we'll hear more about the Lumi later. By African gold, not European greed. One defense shield forged from Libyan steel and Congolese cobalt, so that we will silence the neoliberal priests who preach that Africa must integrate into a global economy rigged against us. Our harmonization is not about fitting into their system. It is about building our own. You see, if we fail, as we have so far, since the call of Nkrumah, Sankara, and Gaddafi, our children will remain serfs in their own land, mining lithium for foreign drones. Our currencies will still tremble at the whisper of the US Federal Reserve. Our leaders will keep flying to Brussels and Beijing to beg for loans like medieval vassals. But if we succeed, the African Central Bank will dictate terms to the IMF. The African Resource Cartel will set global prices, not Wall Street. The Trans-African Hyperloop will carry our engineers, not our refugees. So it's a call to action. Comrades, history will judge this moment. Because we are one of the few groups who are talking about these things. Will we be the generation that debated or the generation that built? So let our discussions be fierce today, this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever you are. Let our resolutions be binding, and let our legacy be the final death certificate of neo-colonial economics. So welcome, brothers and sisters. from Namibia, from from Kenya, from Uganda, from South Africa, wherever you've come. For those of us also in England, in the belly of the imperialist nation. So welcome to the war room of African liberation. Forward ever, backward never. Thank you. So welcome, Brother Hugh. Welcome, Brother. Welcome, Sir Winhoek. Welcome, Sister Shaza. Welcome, Brother Pigeon, and welcome, General Lunaki. So welcome. Pigeon, I believe that the brother who is to present on the Lumi is not yet here. Is that correct?
Correct. My brother Hugh Johnson here from Jamaica.
Yes.
He will be coming in later. He's currently traveling in Italy.
Okay.
And as soon as he's able, he'll log on to us, but he won't be able to stay with us for long.
Wonderful.
But I invite him and he has committed to being here.
Wonderful.
So he has the link. So as soon as he's able, he'll log on and stay as long as he possibly can, because he's on a very vital mission in Italy as we speak.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, thank you so much. And until he joins us and does his presentation, we shall carry with that discussion.
I should tell you, Chair, that he is the creator of the Lumi currency.
Wonderful.
He was instrumental. He leads the group that roll out the euro for the European Union. So he's a financial engineer. So he understands. And we pledge to support him and would like to see this August group joining the effort of causing it to be currency, because the African kingdoms have already accepted it as the AKL, the African Kingdom Lumi. But as we know, the tentacles of the imperialists are very deep and they are resistance, but we are pushing. Because until we are able to liberate ourselves economically, we'll be only talking. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Brother Pigeon. Brother Pigeon?
Yes, Brother Kwame.
Yeah, can you confirm? What can you see on my screen?
You are not sharing anything. I can see yourself.
You can just see me.
Yes.
You can't see my screen.
Now I can see your background, the logo of CSG.
That's all you can see. Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready to chair the meeting?
No, I'm a bit fixed for some maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. So let me know when you are free in 10 to 15 minutes, yeah? So that you can continue with the chairing. Okay. In the meantime, I would like to.
Our comrade is here, Brother Kwame. He has joined the guest.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I've seen where Chief Samako has joined us. That is His Royal Highness Chief Rex Samako. He's here with us. So, and as I have explained to the group before, that he has limited time. So I would appreciate if you could welcome him and allow him to do his presentation, his talk with the group, because of his limited time and he's traveling. Thank you. Hello?
Brother Kwame, we can't hear you, Brother Kwame. Let me make our presenter co-host.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but please make our presenter co-host.
Okay. Chief Samanko, how long do you have with us today, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are? How long can you stay? Because we've been told you can't stay long, but how long can you stay? If you have to leave,
and blessings of the afternoon. We're actually engaged in the papal conclave vote at the moment for the African kingdoms that have a Christian representation, and so I just jumped in because Brother Hugh had asked me to come in, and I didn't have any time, but I wanted to make sure that I at least came in for a few moments to greet and engage to the best of my ability. Thank you.
So in that case, you have got a lot of time. So do you want to start straight away? Well, we don't want to keep you away from what you are doing, because Brother Hughes told us you are engaged in something very, very crucial for the benefit of all of us.
Thank you ever so kindly. And in any case, I greet all of you, first of all, and I would keep my statements very succinct and to the point, as I think that at this particular juncture in the integration and evolution of our integrational movement, the dynamics of integration are quite clear, and the frameworks and trajectories under which it's developing is equally clear, recognizing that across the continent at the moment, there is a very important motion towards the integration of Africa's two new regional regional economic communities, the first of which being ourselves as the Diaspora 6 region, and the second being the Alliance of Sahel States. And of course, the integration of these two regional economic communities require a complete paradigm shift from the modus operandi as to how the regional groupings of the continent interacted, obviously without us having formal and legal integration. And so in a time when we put all of our discussion, all of our philosophy into absolute action in terms of economic development and policies that will facilitate the integration of the diaspora or the sixth region into the continental trade framework, we take a classic conversation looking at the Organization of African Unity, looking at the 1991 Abuja Treaty, and looking at our region as a diaspora regional body as a mechanism for propelling trade amongst the continent and trade amongst the global community as led through the diaspora as a formal regional body. And of course, by utilizing the regional frameworks, it allows us to immediately, as we've begun to do, plug into all the regulatory mechanisms that already legally exist and are authorized. And so consequently, in our engagements as region, we are obviously very proud to acknowledge and make known that we have engaged and concluded a agreement, a very important agreement within the East African community for macro scale energy production, utilizing the volcanoes across the continent, and in particular in regions such as Kenya and Rwanda, we're recognizing that without energy, we cannot talk about the economic transformation of continental Africa. And so we bring it down to the fundamentals and say that, okay, if energy is one of the first components of development for the economy, then of course, let us utilize all the resources that we have. And so the regional integration approach by engaging the East African community and accessing those geothermal resources, as well as the abundance of hydro and solar energy reserves, allows us to have a transformative conversation where we as region begin to look at the geothermal capacity of the Caribbean, recognizing that our engagement with East African community also engages Eurasia, or rather Oceania, where we have our partner in Vanuatu that also has a large framework of geothermal capacities through its volcanoes that allows us to engage in research and development and things of that sort. And of course, in all of the energy development and infrastructural development, we have the economic conversation. How do the regions trade amongst themselves today? The discussion, without question, is a discussion of utilizing local currencies. And by local currencies, it means both local national currencies and local regional currencies. And of course, creating a framework whereby all of those local currencies are obviously able to interact within one another, utilizing a steady medium of exchange. And that is ultimately what the Lumi comes into play as. The medium of exchange being underwritten by 100 kilowatt hours of solar energy and pegged to 4 grains of gold, as well as underwritten by 4 grains of gold, that functions as a mechanism for immediately engaging in trade, so that in the spirit of the current motions that are happening across the continent, we no longer have a conversation about what are we doing tomorrow, but we focus our conversation on what are we doing today? Who are the leaders that are willing to engage in trade with us today? Who are the leaders that are willing to put their products, goods, and services on the table to trade with us as we speak? And of course, we put forth our platform, HannyPay platform, as a space whereby those people who are prepared, ready, and willing to get beyond the general conversation and get into the action that drives the conversation, which is actual trade, has a space by which they could trade both throughout the diaspora community as a sixth region and across the continent. And so the discussion that we look at both politically, economically, socially, and spiritually is the discussion that says, now that the, how shall we say, war is over, how do our warriors now become economic leaders? How do our warriors participate as leaders of the economy in this 21st century? And of course, one of the important agreements that we've put in place as region is to engage what we call the new African super tourism economy, whereby through having trade overseas, trade over air, we speak about what we call our sea, which is our approach to continental and diaspora related trade. So it allows for the immediate creation of what we're looking at, 6 luxury cruise ships that will be taking us from the Caribbean on the one hand to our constituencies in North and South America on the other hand, and of course back to continental Africa, recognizing that if trade, or rather tourism, is going to be a driving force within our regional economies, then we must be at the forefront of that tourism, where the economic agent in Jamaica, the local Jamaican farmer, or in Trinidad, or in Guyana, or in Brazil, can envision himself being in his home from Monday to Friday and flying to Kenya on Friday evening and being there for the weekend and then coming back on Sunday night. That we no longer look at the ocean as something that divides us, but as the swimming pool, our collective swimming pool that unites us and our playground. And so by putting trade at the forefront of our discussion, we utilize our regional currencies as a mechanism for immediate action under which all other cultural discussions and discourses can find themselves a common place of engagement, commerce and trade. And so that is the message. We're not waiting until tomorrow. We've already begun. And we're going full speed ahead. And the conversation is, how do we plug in now? How do we do it today, not tomorrow? And in that note, in that spirit, I would conclude my comments, because that is the essence of the message that I would deliver. Thank you.
So do you have to go, or can you answer a few questions?
I would welcome some questions, yes.
Okay. So are you able to put the website in the chat so we can also see what it looks like later? Or no? Is that
Absolutely.
Yeah? That's the first. The second is how do you? Second is, can you talk a little bit more about the Lumi itself? Because I understand you are the architect of the Lumi.
Well, there's probably no topic I like to discuss more other than the overall integration of our constituency and people within the continent. So, in having a discussion about Lumi, we have a discussion about money in its classic sense of money as a medium of exchange, a store of value, and a unit of account. Each Lumi note is obviously underwritten by 100 kilowatt hours of solar energy, which speaks to a unequivocal commitment to sustainable development across the continent and throughout the diaspora constituency, recognizing that while we have a abundance of natural resources from which we can select for our energy production, obviously we want to maintain a clean atmosphere and commit our actions towards climate action. And of course, in bringing forth Lumi as a regional trade currency, our foremost discussion is on stability, recognizing that while the other currencies around the world are going through massive fluctuations at the moment, the Lumi currency is growing steadily on a daily basis. And so, with the strength of Lumi as a bonded financial instrument, we put it forth as not only the preferred instrument for trade and commerce, but recognize that in this 21st century, if we're going to have a discussion about money, not a discussion about currency, because I hear a lot of people talking about currency, but I want to go back to a proper discussion on money. As a banker, we must always put money as our priority and financial stability as our priority. And so in that regard, as institution, you will recognize that we haven't charged loans, for example, in the issuance of our investments. Why is that? Because we haven't charged interest, rather, on the issuance of our investment loans, recognizing that in maintaining a financial policy that has to allow the African family to grow not for 5-year trajectories, but with a 100-year trajectory, we need to be able to have a monetary instrument that speaks to our financial development and economic developmental agendas for the next 100 years. And so what Lumi does is it comes forth as a proper store of value, as a proper unit of account, indeed what we call the king's standard, recognizing that since ancient days, our ancestors have always transacted in money that had true intrinsic value. And this thing called fiat is very foreign to us. And it has caused great harm to the economy. And so if we're going to deal with the issues, then we create Lumi as a solution that goes to the heart of the problem. Because if you're not talking about monetary infrastructure and having stability in the monetary infrastructure, then you're not having a proper economic discussion. You're not having a discussion that speaks to both this generation and the next generation. You're probably just having a political discussion that conveniently speaks to, a solution for 24 months or a solution for 5 years. But it's not a solution that you could sit down and say, listen, my great-great-grandson is going to be able to benefit from this economic model and structure. And at this point in juncture, that is the type of discussion that we must be having as we integrate the regions. And so whether it is the diaspora as sixth region, bringing its financial knowledge and expertise, or it is the other regional blocks on the continent, we recognize that all of our discussions must have the highest standard possible. And so the Lumi speaks to the highest standard. And it's very difficult for someone to try to convince me to succumb to a lower standard. I don't know why I would want to do that as a central banker, as a financial regulator, And as a policymaker, I wouldn't want to adhere to a lower standard. I would insist that we adhere to the highest standards as we restructure our region. And Lumi speaks to those high standards. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure there are other questions that we want to ask, but I want to ask you a few more questions, and then I'll bring in the others. So the word Lumi itself, is it an acronym?
An acronym?
Yeah, is it an acronym? The word Lumi, L-U-M-I.
No, not at all. It's
yeah, go on. Yeah, sorry.
so the full name of the monetary instrument is African Kingdoms Lumi. And because Lumi is underwritten by solar energy, Lumi is simply short for luminescent, recognizing that solar energy is our most abundant source of energy when we talk about the Global South community. And so when the discussion comes now to a transition from fossil fuels to renewable energies, we look at that commodity which we have in greatest abundance, which is obviously our solar irradiance. When you take places such as Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, where you have some of the highest levels of solar irradiance across continental Africa, capable of producing energy for the entire continent, as well as exporting energy to the world, we look at Lumi as speaking to the reality of that commodity that we have been blessed with, which is the sun. And so that is what Lumi stands for, the solar luminensis. Thank you.
So how is it money as we understand it? So if an ordinary person says, how do I go to a shop and can I use Lumi to buy something? What would be your response?
Well, I'm not really sure how an ordinary person understands money. Basically, people in the secondary market, they're not financial engineers. They're not central bankers. So their only understanding of money is how do I take this financial instrument and go to the store and buy something with it? And ultimately, what that comes to is a discussion of community. And so, as community, if we're going to move as region, then we say, well, at the regional level, this is the regional policy. Of course, we have our national policies. In one island, you have one currency, in one country, you have another currency. That's fine. And the nations will do what they want to do. But as region, this is our regional currency, and this is how we are going to engage and trade amongst ourselves and trade with the continent. And so by plugging in to our payments platform, it's no different than taking the time to, I don't know what other instruments people are transacting in. I don't deal in, things like cryptocurrency and things like that. But for those people who deal in such instruments, they know how to gain access to that immediately from their wallets. And by wallets, I'm talking digital wallets. And so obviously, Lumi is available not only in its physical form as a noted paper, as well as now in its gold form as a gold coin, as we've begun our minting, but also as a central bank digital currency. And so as a central bank digital currency, you can obviously also access it in terms of its electric platforms, of which
Right.
AnyPay is a key platform for interacting with. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a gold coin and it can be expressed using paper as well, some form of paper.
Right. Yes.
Right. That is what I was getting at. So so what do you see as a link between the Lumi and our economic liberation?
Well, economic liberation is as much a form of action as it is a form of discussion. The small businessman understands that economic liberation comes from having access to financial liquidity. On the one hand, having an institution that's willing to invest in him and take confidence in him as an entrepreneur. And of course, having a concept which can be viably invested in. And so, as a regional monetary authority, the African Diaspora Central Bank comes forth as a body in which financial liberation can be achieved at the regional level for our community without being dependent on third party criteria that stand beyond the immediate mandates and prerequisites for the successful integration and establishment of the region. And when I say the region, I don't only mean the diaspora's region, but I also talk about our regions across the continent as they begin to succinctly integrate themselves for continental free trade.
So if someone said to you that, so are you implying that our struggle for Africa to have one currency, because of your comments on currency, are you implying that having one currency doesn't matter, and that what matters is something called money, as you've explained it to us?
1000%. It's not a topic of one currency. As I indicated before, it becomes about everybody transacting in their own local currencies. And that happens both at the national level and at the regional level. And of course, in transacting in those currencies, there must be real value in those transactions. Otherwise, you're just circulating paper. And of course, if you're circulating paper that doesn't have an intrinsic value, while at the same time transacting against our very precious ancestral gold and diamonds and other precious commodities and resources, then obviously we're robbing ourselves of true economic growth and development.
So is it a kind of gold standard?
It's a king standard. Because if you look at the history of it, obviously our ancestors sat in kingdoms and issued their currency. And so, of course, they always had a gold standard. That's nothing new to us. And the difficulty is that as we engage in economic liberation, we have to stop pretending as if we don't understand the history of money. We haven't just
maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Maybe you need to educate us, sir. My brother, HRH. Maybe you need to educate us. Maybe we don't understand money, because you know the history. At some point, they were using iron rods or some kind of iron material as money, trinkets as money. So maybe you will need to educate us. We'll have to put forward another session when you're a bit free, because you're in Italy right now, as we understand. So you can come and educate us on what money is and give us some of the history as a central banker. But can I, in the light of this, ask you, so from what you are saying, the issue is not having a single currency, but having a single money. And that money is what our ancestors have always used, which is gold. So would you say then that we going back to this money, which is gold, is or will be a marker for our total liberation, for Africa's total liberation? That if Africa is to be liberated, Africa must return to its ancient king standard.
Succinctly, I would say that everything that is being built must be built on solid foundation. And if you told me that you wanted to build a continental African economy that interacts with the diaspora throughout all the world, and that you were going to use a monetary instrument that had no intrinsic value, I would tell you before you even began that whatever economy you're going to build is going to collapse because you're building it on the weakest foundations possible. And so it becomes about a discussion on standards and policy that speaks to standards as we know it in the classic form. And whether it's a discussion on transacting with iron, or as they still do in the Kingdom of Eswatini today, transacting with cattle, where you can take your cows and engage in immediate commercial action, what we recognize is that barter and intrinsic value is exactly that. So that if I give you my cow, I expect something of real value in exchange. And if you're going to give me paper, then something should be backing that paper as well. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Now you've educated us on something that some of us weren't clear on, including myself, which is that when we first heard about the Lumi, it was sold to us as some form of cryptocurrency. But you have just said that it's not a cryptocurrency. In fact, So were we misled, if I may put it that way, Brother Pigeon, may put it that way, that we invited a sister who had a group whose leader was based in, I believe, South America, to come and give us a presentation on cryptocurrency, only for them to come and sell their products to us. And it was nothing that we had hoped for. So so hearing it from you, who is the architect of the Lumi itself, I would say it's very liberating for us that the Lumi is not a cryptocurrency, that it's real money that you can hold in your hands. So, no, thank you very much for that. I would like to move to others who would like to. We hope you have more time to spend with us, that you can spend more time with us, because I'm sure others have questions for you as well. But before, nobody has raised their hands, so I'm just going to call them as I see them on the screen to ask you questions, and then they can pass if they don't have a question. But can I, before I start that, note that we have a brother from South Africa called Brother on the participant. He's called General Anunnaki, and General Anunnaki has been telling us, I would say for years, that our ancestors, went. Our ancestors go together with the mining of gold. The mining of gold was on this planet anyway, was something that our ancestors were doing right from the word go. So to hear that gold must be the basis for the total liberation of Africa is very, very liberating, to say the least. So thank you very much. So I'll open the floor. Brothers and sisters, you've heard it from the king himself. And please, if you have any questions for the king himself, please put your question to the king himself. So I'll start with Brother General Anunnaki. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, feel free to pass if you don't have a question for His Royal Highness. Thank you.
Yes, give thanks, my elder. Blessed. Give thanks even for the great knowledge you've just received from the elder. But I would like to allow some other members to ask questions first before I ask, if you can allow me.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Let's go to Brother Pigeon. Thank you.
No, you will pass for now. Today I'll have to pass.
Okay, let's go to Sister Shaza, please.
Yeah, at this moment in time, I don't have any questions, but thanks for the presentation. It's been insightful.
His Royal Highness, it seems like your presentation has challenged a lot of us. Very, very enlightening. Welcome.
Thank you kindly. I am gonna have to excuse myself, but let me obviously say also to our compatriot in South Africa, Salbonani Bunjani.
Yebo, siyaphila unjani wena?
Siyaphila.
HRH, I don't know if you meant us to see your face. Just to let you know, your camera is on, but I think the blind is on the screen.
So I do have to excuse myself. So
no, it's okay. Because sometimes I have done that as well. I want people to see my face, and I've forgotten to remove the blind. So yes. Thank you. You do look like a king. Thank you very much. Brother, welcome. Brother, welcome. Do you have a question for?
Yes. Greetings, Chief. Greetings, everybody. Maybe two questions at the same time. One Lumi at the moment. What is its value compared to?
Yeah, Brother, welcome. I can't hear
any
you
other
very well. I don't know if others can, but I can hear you very well. Maybe it's my my line.
I can hear him, Sir Windog.
Brother Pigeon, can you continue chairing, please?
Okay, Sir Windog, please go ahead with your two questions, then Sister Ida, then we go to His Royal Highness just to answer them at once. So, Sir Windog?
Yes. Greetings once again.
Greetings,
My
comrade.
question is, one Lumi would what is the value of one Lumi to one of the currencies like US dollar, euro, if that is comparable at the moment? That's the first one. And Chief has mentioned 1991 meeting. Can Chief maybe avail those those minutes of that? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if I was very clear on that, but thank you, Sister Ida.
Hi, I'm sorry, I was a bit late, but hearing the Lumi, I wanted to know, is the Lumi just African countries that have it? Because I hear it a lot, but it always seems to be in Africa, nowhere else particularly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Without much ado, His Royal Highness, we will not keep you here for long. And thank you for your time so far. Please have the privilege to answer those questions. Then maybe I'll take it back to Brother Kwame to officially thank you for this, your turn. His Royal Highness?
Thank you ever so kindly. And I will have to jump off the call at the moment. But just to address the first question, the current spot price for Lumi is $26.99. Anytime you want to track the secondary market value of Lumi, you only need to track the spot price value for 4 grains of gold. When we first introduced Lumi in 2015, we introduced it into the market at a value of $10. And as a stable monetary instrument, when we transitioned it into the African Diaspora Central Bank, it had a value of $15.96. And in the secondary market today, Lumi is transacting at $26.99 as we speak. The second question, unfortunately, I didn't hear it altogether too well. And then pertaining to the third question that had come out, in terms of Lumi's footprint, Lumi actually has a global footprint across 194 countries around the world. Notwithstanding, when we had piloted it in our economic stimulus plan from 2022 to from 2021 to 2023, we had basically integrated it amongst members across the continent. And when I say members, I just talk about the African family and anybody who regards themselves as African or not, who are committed on the one hand to climate action, and on the other hand, to the long-term economic development and the eradication of poverty across continental Africa and throughout the Diaspora 6 region. So there's a massive footprint of Lumi in countries such as Brazil and Jamaica and Canada, the United States and Germany and France and Britain. Lumi is everywhere. But the fact of the matter so far is that it's only been members of the continent and the diaspora constituency that has used or utilized Lumi. And we have begun now aggressively and quite successfully to integrate the larger global family. Indeed, we've partnered with a number of dynamic energy companies in Germany that have taken advantage of recognizing that on the one hand, they are on the energy side and that they have, a clear understanding of the integration of Lumi into their financial model. So in that regard, we have began transformative relations that will help integrate Lumi into the global market. I do apologize now, but I do have to excuse myself, and I would welcome the opportunity to address you once again. Thank you ever so kindly for having me today. Blessings to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, His Royal Highness, it's been a pleasure having you. In fact, it's been liberating having you. We hope through either directly with Brother Pigeon or through Brother Hugh that you will join us again and talk to us about money. money. So thank you very much.
Thank you so kindly.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So, brothers and sisters, you have heard it all. Yes. So the gold standard, the Anunnaki are back. General.
Brother Kwame.
Yes.
Permit me first of all to thank Brother Johnson for actually making this possible within the shortest time possible.
Oh, I'm telling you, Johnson.
I didn't expect that this could be possible within that time. But Brother Johnson has been a member of our broadcast list for many years now. So I want to thank him for that short. In fact, we were looking to have a presentation on Lumi. We didn't know we could have the creator himself of Lumi joining us today. So thank you very much, Brother Johnson, for that opportunity.
Brother Johnson, you're a blessing.
You are welcome. You are welcome, Chair, and you are welcome, Comrade Pigeon. It has been my pleasure, and that's the least that I can do. We are here for the liberation of our people. Thank you.
Brother, if you want to say a few more words, please, the floor is open. Tell us, talk to us a bit more, because I'm sure you yourself know more about the Lumi than we do. You want to talk about liberation, because today the topic is economic regulations harmonization. Although I have myself prepared something short, I want to share with us. We've heard what we've heard. In fact, goes to the heart of economic liberation. So, Brother Hugh, talk to us. Feel free.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Brother Christian. If I may share an experience with you, when COVID hit, I approached His Royal Highness and say, government's giving a stimulus to their citizens. Can you, through the African Diaspora Central Bank, give us some stimulus in Jamaica? And he agreed to it. But when he came back for us to make the final decision, he concluded that I'll not only give it to Jamaica, but the entire globe. And that is how that stimulus started. And we have in Jamaica alone over 15,000 participants in the program. Worldwide, I think it was about 3 or 4 million participants in the program that gets their monthly stimulus, and we use it to buy food. In Jamaica, I can remember we had a farmer's market, and you could only trade in Lumi in that farmer's market. It was scheduled to last for 6 hours, and within 4 hours, every single farmer's produce was sold, and it was a resounding success. Only if you walk into that farmer's market and you had Jamaican or US dollars and never have any Lumi, we have people there selling Lumi, that you can get Lumi to use it to purchase your foodstuffs. So that is just a microcosm of the whole that I would like to see implemented here. And as I've said before, we going forward with all our development and our program, we need to be financially independent and economically independent, because the Jews have a great sway on the world's affair because of their economic prowess. And until, Marcus Garvey started it, and we had our Black Wall Street, and they know directly that if we were allowed to prosper financially, they couldn't stop us. So they locked down that operation. All the operations that the Black was building across the globe was sabotaged. And we are here now, just like how I'm seeing in Abraham Torre, the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara. And they ain't stopping it at this time. That is how we need to liberate ourselves economically, and they cannot stop us because we have the solution to the problem. So I hope that as we pull together for one united Africa, both politically, economically, spiritually, and all the allies, because I heard you ask a question in the last meeting we had about the intermarriage, but as it relates to the camaraderie, exchange of ideas, exchange of business activities, and exchange of social interaction, those are the pillars that will get us there. Because until then, we will only on a treadmill, marking time, spinning our wheels. And the time is now. We must see this liberation in our lifetime. Thank you.
Yeah, Brother Hugh, continue talking to us. It's just a pleasure. I don't know about others, but just hearing you speak is liberating. I don't know what others think. So, Brother Hugh, can you? We hope you are part of us anyway, because if you are not, we've made you part of us, or you're already part of us anyway, because you are our brother. But I was thinking, Brother Hugh, in terms of our topic for today, economic regulation harmonization, from what we've heard from His Royal Highness, is basically, if we drill down, it's down to money. Money that we have control over, that we can use to trade amongst ourselves, and so on. So I was wondering if you are willing to, that you will work with us. Brother Pigeon is doing a lot of work already. You work with us in terms of spreading this Lumi message, so that, for instance, if we have a farmers market in Nigeria, for instance, that one of the things the farmers market should do will be to have all trading done in the Lumi. And that if you come to the market and you have Naira or dollars, you buy the Lumi, and that's what you use. If this is something you can work with us in terms of our economic liberation, I think that would be great. Yeah, and I hope you'll be willing to lead that for us. So that, that we want what's happening in Jamaica to be happening in Ghana, Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, across the continent.
It would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure, Sir Christian. I could establish a team and we build out that, because that's the best and only way to go. What I would encourage, first of all, though, is for each individual who are interested to link to the AnyPay platform, because in order to do the transaction, you must have a mobile wallet in your phone or on your laptop to exchange. Even though we have Lumi both in physical currency and in digital form. So if you have the cash, you can exchange it. If you don't have the cash, you can utilize the digital form to do your mobile money transfer from one person to the next.
Yeah, Brother Hugh, you see where some of us got confused. The mobile wallet and cryptocurrency. It wasn't clearly explained, and some of us thought that when you talk about mobile wallet, you meant a cryptocurrency. Whereas in the same way as I can send money to someone in Ghana or in Kenya, and they can have that money in a mobile wallet, from what you're saying, the Lumi could be the same. I mean, is that it?
Correct. Just like how you would have your bank account and you have your money in your bank account, you want to pay your light bill or your water bill, and you transfer $10 from your account to the company's account, to the water company's account. That is not crypto money, that is mobile money or internet banking. That's the wallet that you would need to have on your phone in order to transact the Lumi. I'm not hearing you, Chair. I don't know.
I'll be delighted to be part of that team. And
yeah,
anybody else here, please, wants to be a member of the team, please let Brother Hugh know. Brother Hugh.
Hello, Brother Kwame.
Brother Kwame, you're chipping in and out. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, I think Brother Kwame is having some network problem. But Brother Johnson, you are clarifying something very important to us. That you can have Lumi.
Contact in the
Brother Kwame.
Hello.
Brother Kwame. Brother Kwame. Okay. Brother Kwame, can you hear me? Okay, I think Brother Kwame is still having some problem. But I think you are raising a very important and interesting point to us, Brother Johnson, that to those who might be interested to even start having a wallet on Lumi, it can be possible so that we can get in touch with you. And maybe instead of saying you have your dollars in your account, you also have some Lumi in your account. And maybe we'll also try to see if it can be sent so that I'll be looking for the other to get some money via Lumi instead of I see some Lumi coming via my M-Pesa or in my mobile so that I can receive some Lumi. And then we can see how I can go out and try to trade the Lumi. But I think the issue is about the implementation and it's about awareness. So how do we move it from where it is to start using it in the markets and start, because as you have said, Brother Johnson, I think all those 194 countries have recognized Lumi as a currency that can be used. Is that right?
Yes, it is a currency that can be used, Brother PJ.
Okay. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So it means if I can be able to have Lumi in Kenya and then walk to any bank, I can be able actually to get any money I want from that Lumi, or I can be able to transact directly. Like in Kenya, you see, I think we need to move it in advanced level. Like you see in Kenya, through what you call the M-Pesa system, when I have money in my phone, the mobile wallet, I can use money in my mobile wallet to just pay for my transport directly without converting it to cash. I can just pay directly for any bills in my house, including, in fact, we rarely use cash. In my country here, rarely do you have people using cash. They're all using mobile wallet money. So if we can have Lumi, and I think once it is recognized, we create awareness for people to recognize that even if I send you Lumi, you can still use it for something else, or you can convert it very later. That will be very important. So it means we need a space for what you call civic education, so that even as we are here, we have been educated on actually what is Lumi than what we knew before. So there's a need for us to organize more sessions, physically or even virtual sessions with other countries, focusing economic departments like business communities, the sectors that drive economies in the country, just to tell them about Lumi so that they can start having it. That level of stakeholder engagement and creating awareness and sensitization will be very important for us to, first of all, unlock the information so that information can then make people be interested to have the currency. I think that will also be another task that you have to carry forward. First of all, educating people, sensitizing people, tell them what this is it and what it can be able to do. Then now tell them, okay, it's available in this way if you're interested, so you can have it. And that way we can now start moving this to be a physical card, to be a real currency that we can keep using every time. So if I'm in my mobile phone, I send money via Lumi, the guy receiving the money will not refuse it because, okay, this is Lumi, so no problem. I think that's also a level we have to take this. But before you comment, Brother Kwame, we had lost you sometimes back.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, now you're okay.
Yeah, I changed my internet provider.
Okay, now you're okay.
I don't like it very much when I'm talking about Africa here. I'm in the belly of the whale, belly of the imperialist whale. Brother Johnson, as I was saying before, I got cut off. And as I've heard Brother Prelabijin has been saying, please put together the team. Please, I'm a member. I'm happy to join the team under your leadership. Yes, please. And if anybody else is interested, please contact Brother Johnson. For those of you who also know, Brother Johnson attended our Thursday session. So in terms of ideology and philosophy, he's also solid. So yeah. So
But Brother Kwame, I want to bring to your attention that Brother Johnson, as a member of CSG, not directly through attending the classes, but for more than 1 year now. It's just that he really come once in a while.
That's my point. He's not even attending meetings, but now he attended the meeting last week, and now he's here today, inspiring us with the Lumi. So that's really nice. So, Brother Johnson, a member of your economic team, anybody else who wants to, I don't know if you have put the link, your contacting in the, Brother Pigeon has your contact, obviously, because he's able to send you the information. But if you put it in the chat here as well, so others can also have it. And anybody wants to be a member of the CSG economic team, or the CSG Lumi team, please feel free to contact Brother Johnson. And then together we can plan, as Brother Johnson leads us, we can plan the civic education, as Brother Pigeon has mentioned, and so on and so on and so forth. As I see it, the African nation has to be, Brother Raspala, the Anunnaki are back. so as I see it, the African nation that we want, the United Africa, its money must be gold. And here we have the Lumi. And its economic liberation must be gold, as Gaddafi also, if you recall, mentioned and called the gold dinar. And he was prepared to back it with Libya's gold. And so the Americans decided he should die. But as HRH said earlier, and as Brother Johnson has also mentioned, we are not prepared to let any such dream die any longer. When Sankara died, we didn't have social media, so they were able to get away with it. But from what I am hearing and seeing, the Burkina Faso intelligence even know when a rat in your closet moves. they know. And when you send clandestine emails, even through Python, they can pick it up. They know where you sent it from. I mean, we are in a new era, brothers and sisters. And what we've heard today, for me, is just liberating. Sister Ida, you have your hand up. Sam, I believe you also had your hand up at some point. So the time is 8:15 London time, 7:15 Accra time. The floor is open for discussion. So, Sister Ida, please come in.
I was going to make the comment that from the sounds of it, it sounds like the money remains the same value anywhere in the world, unlike when you go to even in Britain, but when you go to Africa, there's an exchange rate, and the exchange rate fluctuates.
Yeah.
But I think with the Lumi, it sounds like the same money I may have in Britain will be the same money in Ghana or Kenya, and I think that sounds so fantastic.
It does. And in addition, Sider, because it's gold, guess what? The value of gold never goes down. It only goes up. That's why those who understand always keep their assets in gold. Because gold, But Raspala, talk to us. The Anunnaki are back. Talk to us. We want to hear from you, Raspala. Talk to us about gold. Brother Sam.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. And I'm sorry I missed the presentation, and maybe the questions I'm going to ask might have been dealt with in the presentation. I think
Sam, you always watch the video, yeah. And
I was privileged
again for us on the Lumi later. He's agreed to come and talk to us again on the Lumi.
Okay.
So although you missed it,
yeah.
you can always watch the video. Yeah. Go on, brother.
Okay. Yeah, I say I missed it, but I think earlier I think last year or maybe the year before last, there was a presentation in one of the platforms about the Lumi, and at that stage, I think many of us were just not understanding what is taking place. So it would have been good to have heard the presentation today. So just in case this was not tackled, can I just find out, has the Lumi being embraced by the African Union, and are the member states participating directly through the AU in the Lumi trade or whatever transaction?
That is my understanding, brother Sam. That is my understanding. Brother Johnson can tell us, Brother Hugh can tell us more about that, because
that's fine.
He knows more. In the meantime, Sam, I'm putting, because you may have come in after the brother shared the website with us. So I'm putting the website link again just for your benefit. If you click that link in the chat, it will take you to the website where you can see how it's been operating online.
Okay.
So please carry on. I'm glad that you can also answer your question.
The last one is and I've listened now in the last inputs. It seems as if there's no opposition to the Lumi activities, and I wonder if there's no issue like what the BRICS people were trying to say. They wanted to drop the dollar and come with their own currency, and you can see already that USA is on the war path to try and threaten everybody who's trying to drop the dollar. Is there no such pushback against the Lumi? Thanks.
Yeah, let Brother Hugh respond to that, and then I will also come in and say a few things. But Brother Hugh, you come in first.
Two things. Thank you, Chair. There are pushbacks to the Lumi, not in a overt way, but probably in a covert way. Anything that will upset the apple cart or change the status quo, there will be pushback. A few countries have signed on to utilizing the Lumi as a currency in their suite of currency. I think Eswatini is the only country that has signed on to use the Lumi as their currency. But many countries have signed on in utilizing it. The problems that we face sometimes are, one, the country don't have the infrastructure to carry it, the digital infrastructure, and that will take some time to get in place. Secondly, sometimes the central banks operatives not readily embracing it, even though the government has embraced it. So there are many challenges, and we just have to be resolute and keep pushing, because unless we do that, we shall all likewise perish. But I must apologize. I have to run. I have attended many meetings before, maybe not speak, but I'm under pressure as it relates to schedules, because right now I should be in another engagement, but because I'd committed to getting the provider of the Lumi here, that is why I'm here for so long. But I have to leave now. My humblest apology, and I'll join you whenever I can. And I'm looking forward to discussing further with you the development as to how we can educate ourselves on the usage of the Lumi and get us start trading in it. So far, presently, there are two platforms that carries the Lumi, one named Anipay and another Swifin. So what I'll do is to get both platform leaders to explain to you the dynamism of utilizing it. Then we can spread it further to getting a network of people utilizing it so that it can be effective. Comrade Pete Gideon asked a question earlier, if you can go to the bank in Kenya. The Kenyan government and ECOSIX, or the Diaspora Central Bank, they are in dialogue as we speak. I'm not sure how far the agreement and the discussion has reached for the utilization of the Lumi. But so far, it's not encouraged by the developer for wide-scale conversion from Lumi to fiat currency. Lumi is not a fiat currency. It has value. Kenyan shilling is a fiat currency. It has no value. It's not backed by anything substantive. It's just the faith that people have in it, why it's able to function, just like the US dollar. And for that reason, if wide-scale conversion is allowed, it will diminish the value of the Lumi. And that is what we don't want, because His Majesty has explained that when it came on board 10 years ago, it came on board at a value of about 10 US dollars to one Lumi. And it is now at just 10 cents less, $27, 27 US dollars to one Lumi. So for it to continue to enjoy its prosperity, it should not be easily converted to fiat currency, but converted to currency of similar value or has similar backing, whether it's your cattle, whether it's your gold, whether it's your copper, whether it's your minerals, or whatever. But it must be backed by some substantive thing that it can hold its value,
yes.
and not to be a fiat currency. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, Brother Hugh, I know you have to go, but let's just wrap up before you go. So you will, as you said, set up a team, and I volunteered to be a member. You will get two other brothers and sisters, or brother and sister, or sisters, brothers, to come and do a presentation for us on the platform that they are using for Lumi. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So yeah. So
correct,
Brother Pigeon is our coordinator and head of our secretariat. So if you contact him, he can arrange that. Yeah. But I think we'd like to thank you very much, because today I have got a kind of clarification I was asking for when we first invited another sister to come and present for us, and then we were insulted and misled by them. So no, thank you so much. Have a nice next session wherever you are going, and we hope to see you on Thursday.
Okay, my brother. Thank you. I have a good friend, a friend of mine for almost 60 years. Today is his 70th birthday celebration, and they are waiting on me. They're calling me, but I'm here trying to see this through, because this is close to my heart. And as I've said before, we must obtain this liberation in our lifetime, not the next life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Happy 70th to your friend. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. So yeah, no, we thank Brother Hugh for this wonderful session where we heard from His Royal Highness himself, the creator of the Lumi, a central banker who understands banking and money, which you recall is at the heart of the Pan-African struggle to liberate Africa, which you recall was the reason Gaddafi was killed, and what Traore is doing in Burkina Faso, taking over the gold and using it to negotiate the development of Burkina Faso, is what liberation is about. So we are really, really, really thankful. So let's hear from Ras Pala, which, because he does present to us on every Saturday on the AES, the Association of the Sahelian States. Brother Ras Pala, are you ready to share with us? Thank you. because a lot has happened this week on the AES front. Yeah. Yes, brother.
Yes, man. A lot has really happened. I'm still trying to catch up, even myself. But obviously, the most commonly known headline that's happening in the Sahel is the one of that general of America and the petitions and the global protests that went on the 30th of April, where countless of organizations
Are you still speaking, brother Raspala?
But Raspala, we can't hear you.
The issue of gold. I think Burkina Faso's gold deal with Russia, it's about $88 million, I think, or more. Since we know that there's this big company, this a Russian big mining company. I think it's Rotterdam something, I forgot the name. But it was awarded a deal to build a gold facility refinery. And from what you hear, that Burkina Faso has two gold refineries that it uses. It nationalized. And in the deal that they just made with Russia, I think the government owns about, 20 or 25% of the refinery that Russia is building there. So it raises some critics raise questions that is Africa repeating the same pattern of allowing colonials or
Ras,
yes,
is it
yes.
are you referring to the Russian gold mining company called Not Gold? Is that the one?
Yes, man, North Gold.
Okay.
Thank you, yeah, North Gold, yeah. I'm talking about that company.
Okay.
So some critics, they say it's like the Africans are doing the same pattern of working under bigger countries, whereas Traore in his recent speech, I think it's 2 days, I'm not sure, he did mention this, where he said that as the Africans, because the colonials, when they left, or when the Africans wanted independence, they didn't want that, more especially the France colonies, where we have cases of Guinea's independence, which are the independence of Ghana, whereby the French people, they literally tore out the telephone lines, they broke trucks, anything that the French built in that country, they took away just because the Africans, they wanted to rule Guinea independently. So these violent acts is the same Traore mentioned in that speech, whereby when they asked the French to leave, they left Burkina Faso with nothing. Then even the Africans there, they were not trained the most highest advanced skill jobs that are demanded to run a modern economy. So we as Africans had to find strategic partners. And in this aspect, we had to find the enemies of America and Europe, which was Russia and China. So it's not the same. Basically, it's not the same. In these deals, we actually as equals with Russia and China, whereas in the West, Europe, they use democracy to actually sap resources from us while leaving us with little to nothing to survive. So basically, those are the issues I've been focusing on. Sahel. I'm still checking on that issue of Algeria, what's going to happen because of that drone that was shot down. And AES went to the UN to complain for them to intervene in this matter. So still, there's nothing we've heard so far. So that's it from Sahel. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for Brother Raspala. Can you say a little bit about the demonstrations that took place on the 30th?
Yes, Mel. The demonstrations basically were more solidarity based for the AES. Ever since that speech of that general who said they will be coming for Traore. So there's many organizations, as I say, that were part of the march because it was a global march. We even had, even from the Rastafari community there in Jamaica, who were part of the march. A lot of Pan-African based organizations took part in this march in their respective countries and continents. So but overall, it was successful because even if maybe some may say we didn't help Traore protect him physically whatsoever, but it did however raise an awareness to even the most ignorant of Africans to be aware that there is someone called Traore or this organization or these states, 3 states that are called AES in Africa that are actually implementing the principles of Pan-Africanism. Thank you.
Raspala, we heard that civilians were happy to sleep around Traore's residence to protect him. And are you able to confirm that?
Yes, Father.
Because you see, but Raspala, we've been saying for years that people say the Africans are cowards. Africans are cowards. And some of us have said that Africans, if they accept what you are telling them and they believe that you are fighting their interests, you can't find braver human beings on this planet. The Africans are brave, but they won't go into a war if they don't know what that war is about. They don't know what it's for, and you are telling them to rise and fight, they won't do it. But Africans are just as brave. And so if what we are hearing in Burkina Faso is correct, then it explains some of the things that happened in Ghana before Ghana became Ghana, the Gold Coast, where, for instance, the intelligence services were trying to arrest Nkrumah, and Nkrumah happened to go into a building, and they went in there. They asked all the women to leave. The women left. So then they searched the place, and Nkrumah was nowhere to be found. And as you know, legends grew that Nkrumah was a magician and so on. But what had happened is that Nkrumah was dressed by the women as a woman and left with the women. And that's what happened. And so the adage is that the African people will protect their own. And so all those African leaders, presidents who are afraid, can take a cue from this, that if you work for the people will protect you. So Raspala, yes, please. And say something about the gold as well, because gold is back. Ras, gold is back.
Yes, Father. Yeah. However, I'm just honestly still just skeptical about this thing of this Lumi. I'm still researching further. That's why I didn't want to ask questions there.
Right.
So, because let me just mention one thing that I think it just needs to be adjusted. It's this issue of saying, because I did read they say the currency of the Lumi is solar energy and 4 grains of gold, which equals to 0.20 something grams. So and then they also say that solar energy is the future.
Is it me or Raspala?
He looks frozen.
Yes, so I'm wondering whether it's me or whether it's his end.
The ESCOM are back.
All right. Okay, I think he's back.
Country in the world.
Ras, we can't hear you well.
There's no country.
Ras,
Yeah.
just so you know, you went off for a few minutes, so we didn't hear what you said in the last 2 minutes or 1 minute. Yeah. You were saying you were skeptical, and then you were giving us the figures of 0 point. That's where we lost
I was saying the currency of the Lumi is basically solar energy, 100 kilowatts per hour, and 4 grains of gold, which equals to 0.2 something grams. So, and then there's a statement where they say that the solar energy is the sustainable and economic development future of Africa. Of which, for me personally, I disagree on that, because the solar energy and wind energy is not sustainable. You see, nuclear is sustainable. There's no country in the world that uses solar energy and wind energy for its industries. They use coal and all this other and nuclear. So I wanted to ask those questions there. But again, overall, it's a good initiative because it's about time gold. Even BRICS, long time was initiating this thing of gold, even Gaddafi, as we normally know. So it's about time it's implemented, it's about time.
Yeah, no, it's good you are skeptical, because that's good. We need to be skeptical of some of these things. What I found interesting, and we've asked him to come and present to us again on the Lumi itself, and that is when we'll ask some of the difficult questions. I think today was more like an introduction to the Lumi. You realize that he spoke about the wider matters before I asked him about the Lumi, and then he then zoomed in on the Lumi, and so we didn't get to hear everything about the Lumi and so on. But one of the things that I got clarity on was the difference between money and currency. You see, because gold has always been the medium of exchange all the way in the past, and then in the 20th century, although other currencies were used, like the cowries, trinkets, iron, coal, and so on, and cattle and so on. But then when after printing was invented in Europe, then later on, then they started to print paper money, and that's fiat. So then they could then print, say that this piece of paper is of this value. And there are economists who have predicted the collapse of paper money, and the Gaddafi dinari, if it had come into existence, would have collapsed the US dollar, and so that's why they moved against him. So when he comes to present on the Lumi itself, like you are saying, we will have the chance to get into those nitty-gritty, so that he can tell us more about how they see money, what is money, and the difference between money and a currency, and so on. So yeah, so thank you very much.
Yeah, and also, sorry, just to final, also we need, I think we'll have to make I think we'll need a lot of time, because from what I'm reading their page, I'm reading their website page, there's a lot of information here.
Is that the one he shared with us?
Sorry?
Is that the one he shared with us?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, it's the one he shared with us.
The eco
yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, from the yes. Because there's this entity called the Queen of Sheba. III, who is the central figure of this thing of Lumi. And she says her ancestry is based on the actual Queen of Sheba of the Bible. So it's very interesting. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of questions I have for him personally.
We are told the Queen of Sheba comes from where some of the Kenyans originated from, in Yemen. That's where some of the Kenyans came from. Brother Pigeon can, I think they mentioned it, that all Kenyans were not originally from where they are now. They moved from Yemen. And the Queen of Sheba was actually a Yemenite, who are black people anyway. The original Yemenites anyway. No, thank you. So Brother Pigeon's hand is up. So is Brother Welcome. Brother Welcome. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you once more. I just wanted to maybe ask a question.
Well, on the Lumi,
during
it's on the Lumi. Nobody here is an expert, so we won't be able to answer it. Maybe Brother Rasfala can.
No, not about the Lumi, but the march for the protection of Traore.
All
right. I did not see any African head of state saying anything about the protection of Traore, and the march was for the safety of Traore and any like-minded African head of state. So why didn't they come out in their own support or in the support of Traore?
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
You are in Namibia. Did your president march in support of Traore? Because we've heard that she has made some really positive comments and supports Traore. And has, for instance, you can confirm that we've heard that your president has said that any American coming to Namibia will also have to get a visa before they come. That's what we've heard. Maybe you can confirm that for us. So did she march or do anything in Namibia?
Not that I know of, and I strongly believe she didn't. So nobody from the executive, the legislature, or anything said anything or did anything about the march. So, and so many African leaders also, they were just mum about it all. So that's why I'm wondering, why aren't they supporting a brother? Why aren't they supporting themselves? Because the march is for Traore and any African head of state.
Why don't we ask them? Let's ask them.
Let us ask.
Yeah, Brother Pigeon.
But I just wanted to hear.
Brother Pigeon. We need to draft a letter to ask the presidents why they didn't march in support.
No, it's very simple. They are puppets of the same. So expecting them to march is something ironical. Actually, is like we think that they're progressive and they're not. So in any level of even marching is the highest thing they could do, which they have never done before. And I don't think that by expecting that African leaders march in solidarity with Traore is something that we need to look forward to, because they might not. They will never probably. Few might come out to be courageous enough. Even associating with Traore alone is an issue to them. But what I wanted to say again is that I also did a draft letter. There's a letter circulating for signatures of organizations. So far, I think 13 organizations or individuals have signed to the letter. That shows also a letter directed in regards to solidarity with Traore and the people of Burkina Faso. I don't know if you saw it in the CSG. It's been going around, and we've received some signatures. If just I can just highlight it, there are people who have already signed to it.
Yeah,
but
you can share it here with us.
Yeah, I want individuals from various organizations. So these are organizations that have already signed to it. More organizations are coming up, so we are looking.
How do they sign? Do they just how do you sign this?
No, we just had a Google form. So the Google form allows people then to
I see
their signatures. So
no one can just go in and sign. They have to.
No, what happens, I share the link. So once you have the link, you can be able to go directly and sign. But it also depends on the members of various organizations doing that on behalf of the organizations, if that's possible. So that what we look for is maybe we can print the document once it's ready and see if we can disperse it to their various entities. We are addressing the government of France, the government of US, the government of Ivory Coast, and the government of ECOWAS, the ECOWAS as an entity. But I think that it is also very enlightening if people can then show that level of solidarity in terms of even writing. You know, people say that you just write and write and write, or talk and talk and talk. Sometimes those activities are also very essential to show how we can come together or express together our interest or our intention to our particular issues. But it's something we are still following up, and we look forward. I know the general from US, I'm told, is in Kenya here. The general who commented, the head of AFRICOM, who commented negatively about Burkina Faso, I'm told he's in Kenya here. I don't know what he's doing here, but of course, Kenya is part of their playing field. It's their client state as it is now, and it needs to be liberated. We must agree as Pan-Africans to help each other to see how we can also liberate Kenya so that we can join also the forces, and not only Kenya, how we can liberate the entire continent so that we can join the progressive forces. Brother Kwame will tell us the positive actions as we move forward that we need actually to see how we work together on that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, brother, welcome. Just so you also know, the flip side of no African president marching in support of Traore, dialectically, look at it this way as well. No African president marched against Traore in protests, say that Traore is not an elected leader, blah, 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 blah. No African president has said that. And he has strong political backing, as you know, from the military-led governments of Mali, Assimi, Goïta, and Niger, Abdul Rahman Tiani, as part of the alliance of Sahel states. Also, there's regional solidarity, as you know, because some African leaders are critical of Western influence. For example, Guinea's Mamadi Doumbouya, for instance, has expressed ideological alignment with Traore. And as I said, I heard that the president of Namibia also did, but brother Welcome can confirm that for us. So the popular protests in support must be seen as part of the large pro-Traore marches as well. And then remember, there's also diplomatic backing. So for example, at the Russia-Africa Summit in 2023, Traore was welcomed by several African leaders, if you remember, when he attended and he spoke to them. This was 2023. And he was welcomed by the African leaders who were there and who were sympathetic to his stance. So yes, although there were no direct marches, there were also no protests. So from that perspective, yeah, it's been successful. We have a few hands up. Brother Welcome, and then Sister Ida, and then Brother Joseph. Let's start with Brother Welcome, and then we'll go Sister Ida, and then Brother Joseph. We have 8 minutes left, so
that's all I had.
Let's keep brief so that we can finish on time. You were
sorry? I don't have anything else to comment. I don't have anything else to comment on. Pass.
But you had your hand up. Or was it a legacy hand?
Yeah.
Okay. Sister Ida.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask, I'm glad you asked, Brother Pigeon, how people could really understand who was signing that letter. Because you saw a whole load of groups and stuff. But then you thought, but anybody could add groups, sort of thing. Are they actually got signatures to it? So I did read the letter that he had sent out this morning, and I thought, so I'm glad you asked him. And Brother Pigeon, I'll still say that if there are no actual names to it, you're the only person who would really know if people are really signing the letter, and it's not just someone who says such and such a group. But that was one thing. And then the other thing that he made me put my hand up to.
Share the page again. The signature, yes. Yeah, go on,
Oh, yeah, you can go through the link, and then when you go to the link, you see all these groups, but you don't know who it is, because there are no signatures, there are no names. You know, if there's a signature to a group, like it says secretary or whatever, but if there was a signature to the group, you'd think, oh, maybe that's a real person. But hey, that's just cynical me making. I'm sorry, Brother Pigeon, but I'm glad.
Can you scroll down, Brother Pigeon, so we can see those who have signed? Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you.
You have
Brother
to
Pigeon,
go
scroll
through
down so we can see those who have signed.
But the other reason that he made me put my hand up was, do you know what? It's not just that the Namibian president is a woman, but she is the only new person who is actually doing the same sort of thing as the Sahel states are doing. You know, she's challenging the Americans. She's telling them no visa, get out.
Yeah, Brother Pigeon, hold it there for a moment. Yeah, go on, Sister Ida.
So it made me sad to hear. Once you call her name, then I must stand up and say she seems to be doing more than a lot of other governments, and therefore we should be standing behind her as well. You know, egging her on. Well, it doesn't sound like it if we call them all.
Yeah, Sister Ida, on the screen are signatures 3, 4, and 5. I would have thought it's clear who is signing. So if you take them at 3, the Congress of United Sudan.
3 says that, yes, Homeland, but the rest just say secretary, secretary. So it's only 3 that I have seen. The rest all said secretary. Oh, and then Dr. Kwame. But there are very few actual names.
Dr. Kweku Ishan is part of us.
Kweku, sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Kweku is part of us. He's a member of CSD.
Okay, yeah.
But he's signing his own right.
Bruno,
number 10.
whoever signed in his own right.
Yeah, some of them have signed in their own rights.
Yeah, a lot of them, to me, it's if you say Secretary General of a group, you could just name any group and put Secretary General.
All right, okay.
So I would suggest that it also needs 1 or 2 more signatures.
Right.
So
okay.
those were my 2 points, because hey, if you start challenging, you didn't challenge anybody else. You challenged the president of Namibia, and I think, hey, this woman is behind the other 3 military leaders.
Sorry, do you mean I challenged? Are you saying I challenged?
Not you.
Okay.
Brother Pigeon made me put my hand up because first of all he said that there were it wasn't quite stooges, that they were all puppets or whatever. And then he named Namibia. And I thought, hey, this woman has done a lot in the time that she's been there. How long has she been there? A month?
I must have missed his mentioning Namibia.
Did you? Oh, okay. Then
Brother Welcome, maybe would have commented.
Okay, let me answer him directly. Brother Pigeon, did you not mention Namibia?
It is Brother Kwame who mentioned Namibia.
Oh, then Brother Kwame, I'm challenging you because she's only been in power for how long? A month, and already she's standing up to America.
Yes, and I said so. I said that she has, for instance, said that if Americans do not want us in their country and deporting Africans, she has said that Americans coming to Namibia going forward will have to queue up and get a visa before they enter Namibia. Yeah. And she has also made comments in support of Traore. So those are the things I said.
And she's also cut the amount of people. In fact, I think it's come to her office. I'm not sure if it's something to do with gold or
but I didn't speak against her achievements at all.
Okay. Well, maybe I heard as one.
No, in fact, she's more if I may say, she's more Brother Welcome can confirm this. She's more, from what I can see, more Pan-Africanist than the Tanzanian woman who brought in Tony Blair to come and advise her I mean, Tony Blair. Can you imagine Tony Blair?
Of all people, of all people.
You know, yeah.
So
And
as soon as I heard Namibia being mentioned, and it sounded like it was
for
negative,
me,
I was.
No, for me, she's been amazing. She's
Yeah,
been amazing.
exactly. So me, you know, she's like amongst the three.
Yeah, so maybe you misheard me, but yeah, no,
I
I
apologize,
agree with
but it
everything
got me
you said.
putting my hand up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with everything you said. Yeah. You're
Thank
welcome. Brother Joseph. You're welcome. Brother Joseph.
Yeah, please allow me.
We've got 3 minutes left.
Yeah, please let me speak. Please allow me to speak without camera. I think we, in terms of Namibia, and I was intending not to speak. In terms of Namibia, Namibia is doing the right thing. For instance, more than at least 60% of the cabinet of Namibia, of the current Namibian government is women, are women. There are 9 ministers, female. The top 3 people right now is Trinidad. In the top 3 people in Namibia are female. To me, that's a great achievement. And so we need to understand that. Now, in context, so also Trinidad this week had an election, and for the first time, the president is a female. The prime minister, who was prime minister before, is a female. And now, for the first time, the opposition leader is a female. And this, to me, is remarkable. It's remarkable. It gives hope. Because more women means a shift in how things are approached. Now, coming to the demonstration. I was called on Monday by someone who does business with Africa, who told me that he was told that I'm a good person. I'm someone to contact because of my role in my general Pan-African campaign around, but also my activity in the anti-Israeli pro-Palestinian activity. I couldn't make it. And I was encouraged when I saw a video of Grenadians demonstrating in support of Torah. Also, other Caribbean people did demonstrate, which is very unusual. What, as I told Brother Pigeon earlier today, what was interested? And don't expect these leaders and them, whether it's in Africa or the Caribbean, to come out in support of Torah. I have challenged people who think, for instance, that Mia Motley is a progressive, to ask, has she ever expressed solidarity or endorsement? And I've even asked the foreign minister of Grenada about the connection with about what they see in the there, and of course he ducks the question and so on diplomatically. They're not, although I mean I know some of them resist the American and other imperialist effort to keep us divided and so on. They wouldn't. What we have to see what have happened is maybe you might say the return, or where if we had seen Marcus Garvey as the first, like for instance, we could see Marcus Garvey as it, if we want to allude as a biblical metaphor, Marcus Garvey was the John the Baptist. Now, Torah can be considered the Jesus or whatever it is. I'm not saying that he should be seen as that, because for a long time, not even in terms of Mandela, we have seen people spontaneously just respond to that effort. And I mean, if people remember, people around this network and others, from day one, I was in support of what happened in the Sahel, particularly when Arikana and Professor Lumumba came out in support of them. And by the way, you know, people were arrested in Liberia. Do you know that? In fact, what some of the commentary is that most of the African leaders are frightened to death what could happen, because you can imagine Ghanaian in the thousands supporting Toure and chanting the name and not the current prime minister. I mean, this is unusual. I mean, where people, Africans in the different countries are seeing another leader for the first time. I mean, this is historic, and it's because it's grassroots led, it's not political, politicians, and this is very good. It had demonstration in England, in US. I mean, I'm still to know what happened in the South America, but I'm sure something happened there. I'll be talking to people there. No, so we had to see this. Some of the conversation people had sometimes I think they'd be petty, but I think we have to see the bigger picture. This is creating a movement creating, giving Black people, African people, oppressed people confidence that we could take a thing in our hand, and also including the young. I mean, especially the young. The leaders are fighting at the youth. Or what will happen? It might have chaos, but that's the end of the corruption, the beginning of the end. But I think we need to look at them. I mean, Namibia, with a lot of regard and respect. She's doing the right thing, and maybe she might not coming out open, in the cave. I cannot do, but she is certainly solid. And there are a lot of things that would have to happen. Don't forget that Namibia rushed into under the former president in dealing with agreements with the foreign companies and so on. She will have to renegotiate those, and I think she's begun doing that and looking at that. So we have to see and see it holistically. So I know I don't have much time, but we need to be following things. So sometimes because I do my best to have a holistic approach, sometimes some of the conversations sound petty and minuscule. We need to have a broad thing. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother Joseph. Join us more often because we've missed you. Right. So, brothers and sisters, that brings us to the end of today's session. And
by the way,
next week,
there was a situation in Guyana which should be concerned. Guyana, where this young girl was killed, and it created riots. There were riots, especially among the Afro people, because an Afro child that was killed, and they said it is not the first time. Hotel, the man's place was burned, the hotel and so on. There's big international stuff around that. And finally, let me encourage people to attend that thing on Haiti tomorrow by the CSL. They'll read that conversation on Haiti. Ida and them know about it already. Thanks.
Can you share the link with us, brother, in the chat? So, in the meantime, we'd like to thank you for attending today's session. Let's remind ourselves today's topic was economic regulations harmonization. But at the same time, although one would argue that we did not look at that specifically, what had happened is that we had heard about the Lumi. Whatever arguments are for and against the Lumi, it represents the return to what you might call the gold standard. And you remember our ancestors used gold; they used gold to trade. So the idea is that Africa should go back to the gold standard, and so on. So in terms of economic regulation harmonization, one can argue that if the African nation can return to, there is no African nation at the moment, as you know. There are only 55 new colonial territories, and they are not really our countries in the sense in which an African nation would be when we set one up. We are certainly fighting for one. Our last session last week, you recall, fostering shared African identity, made it clear to us that a lot of us do not understand what we mean by United Africa. We still think in terms of our cultures, our cultural identities, and our new colonial identities, we have still not understood what it means to have one African nation, which can only be the basis for a shared African identity. So that is something that we need to work more on. So thank you for coming to this session. Next week, Saturday is the 10th of May, and the session is going to be on STISA, the progress of STISA. STISA stands for Science, Technology, and Innovation Strategy for Africa. So there is such a strategy. So we will look at that and discuss that. If anyone knows of any specialists on science, technology, and innovation, please direct them to Brother Pigeon so that we can hear from an expert. So that is it from me in terms of the Saturday. Let's now hear from Brother Pigeon in terms of the other announcements.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. And I don't want to take much of your time because we've spent more time on this. But I want first of all to thank Brother Johnson in his absence for actually enabling our conversation today to be more fruitful. And I want also to thank His Royal Highness. We've thanked him when he was here for his innovative and creative ideas to come up with Lumi. And I think we have been able to learn a lot. We are looking forward to still learn a lot. And I think it's very important at this stage to get the information so that we learn, then we can actually respond or react. So, comrades, as much as Brother Kwame said, we might have diverted a bit, but I think this was a golden opportunity to listen from the creator of the content, him or herself. I'll ensure, for this case is himself, the Royal Highness, I'll ensure that the recording of this session will be available by the latest Tuesday next week so that you can have some time to go through it again. We will also look forward to the conversation, as Brother Johnson has promised us, from the platforms that Lumi is being used on so that you can be able to know what's going on. I'll also at this particular moment to actually pass the greetings of Brother Carrington, who has also shared his greetings to you. He landed in Kenya safely, and he will be joining us anytime soon, maybe in 2 weeks' time, so that he can resume with us in our Saturdays and Sunday and Thursdays conversation. We are actually looking forward for the purpose of women, and women have been rising now in the continent. I'd like to remind us that we are looking forward to have African Liberation Day on 24th Saturday. I think probably the Saturday, based on the women and liberation. So if there are women who are interested, who can be speakers, who are interested to speak on this topic on that day, please let them get in touch with me, or direct them to me, or link me with them, so that we can have that conversation and see how our women and actually take the struggle as they have been indicating, and they've been showing signs that they are ready for it. So that's what we're looking forward to, the African Liberation Day. And of course, join us again on our Thursday class as we continue the consciousness, and join our Pan-African Library Telegram channel, where we are sharing the books of about African Pan-Africanism. And there's a lot you can do together. Join also the signing of the endorsement of the letter if you can. I appreciate the comments that have been made, and let's push this together. So, comrades, we are always here to try to do our best to the African liberation, unification, and development. And thank you very much for always being there with us. Thank you very much for always spending your time, your data, and everything else. Without much ado, comrades, permit me to bring this meeting to a particular end. So, have a lovely evening, morning, and daytime to you all. See you again on Tuesday, or on Thursday, or on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much indeed. Good night. Night.
Good night. Thank
Bye.
you.